What up? What up? All right, here we go. So just getting into number 3 for Aquaman, and saving this one for last, mainly because it was my favorite one out of the 3. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was a close second, but I had to say Aquaman was definitely my favorite out of all 3. And I feel like the whole thing with it's pretty crazy because I looked at some of the Rotten Tomatoes for Spider-Man. I didn't check Aquaman. I didn't check Aquaman Rotten Tomatoes, but I did hear. Did hear a bit of mixed reviews. I guess it ain't pull up on here. Didn't pull up on here. Okay, they got a 64, but the audience is 84. I'm definitely with the audience, man, versus the critics on that one. Because what gets me is that a lot of times I just noticed with Rotten Tomatoes, I don't necessarily agree with their reviews a lot of times because I feel like when a film does better, then the ratings for that film begin to change. And I ain't really digging that. But yeah, and not don't take me wrong. I'm not trying to gas Aquaman and say it was the best film ever, best film of the year. Not at all. Not at all. But I will say, as far as how I feel about Aquaman, that it was the best DCEU film, in my opinion, thus far. As far as films for the DCEU. And that's just my preference, how I feel about that. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with James Wan and his chops as a director and his style of filming, those long one takes, the fight scenes, and just once again, I'm getting into spoilers. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I will be getting into spoilers. Let's see. I'll see what I can do as far as keeping them down, but I'm definitely getting into spoilers in these here. So, but it's all good if you haven't seen it yet. You know, you can always come back, check it out. But yeah, as far as like James Wan, just getting into him and his style of filming, I feel like that was a huge compliment to this film and one of the huge strengths of this film and one of the big standouts for this film versus other stuff coming out this weekend. With the way he does the single long takes with the camera without cutting to a different angle, I feel like because he's one of those directors that knows how to handle horror, he knows how to handle a lot of action, that benefited this film in a lot of ways because he was able to, like, when he had the fight scenes, and I noticed mainly when Aquaman first fought Black Manta, that when that scene, the way it was shot, that you could see clearly what was going on, and it wasn't like no shaky camera mess or anything like that. It was just handled well. Yeah, and another thing that I was just thinking about, and it's just kind of a random thought, but just in comparison with James Wan to Zack Snyder, even though I still feel like Zack Snyder has one of the most beautiful cinematography as far as capturing something on film with post production and everything. I feel like he is one of the top best at that. I feel like James Wan as a director, I feel like he's a bit more talented than Zack Snyder in the cutting room as far as putting the footage together and telling a story with a film. And I feel like that showed with Aquaman. It told the story, just comparing it in my mind, just comparing it to like Man of Steel, and like it was just told better than that film in my opinion. But yeah, so let me see what you guys saying here. Okay, that's some other stuff going on. But either way, what was I gonna say? But yeah, I'll definitely hold Aquaman as the first the number one film of the weekend and number one in the DCEU. Definitely enjoyed it more than any others. And as far as thoughts on the other characters in the film, Ocean Master, Black Manta, I feel like they were handled decent. Black Manta, I feel like he's one of those characters that they could have. They didn't really need to, but I feel like the audience, your general audience who sees this film, they don't understand how dangerous Black Manta truly is because he was discarded uh, or tossed to the side of the narrative rather early on in this film. And I don't think the general audience really has an idea of, how dangerous he truly is. But hopefully that's something they'll see later on. Let me see what else was there. Just trying to get out everything that I had in my mind about it. Trying to get it all out one time. Those are the main things I can think of. But it was handled well, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. They need to waste two villains, waste the storyline, no focusing. Riding the boat. Yeah, they was a lot faster swimming on their own versus being in that boat. But at the same time, the ship was supposedly able to get them where they need to go much faster, plus give them protection, or more so give them protection against the defenses instead of just taking those hits directly on. Let's see. Christmas, holidays. Yeah, now you'd be surprised though, because I even remember as far as like seeing films around Christmas, or whether people will or won't do that, after shopping for the holidays, you'd be surprised. I remember when I was little going to the movie theater to see films on Christmas Day or Christmas weekend. Yeah, because I remember the first one that pops into mind was Ali, that Will Smith, Muhammad Ali movie. It came out close around that time, but I remember seeing that film. When I did see it for the first time, it's one of those things like when films release or when studios release films, they're also looking at what time of year it is or what holiday. That's why the summer is so big because so many kids are out of school, and that's when they want to put a lot of the films out so more people will have time to go see it. And a few of these studios take advantage of the same with the Christmas holiday as they would with the summer. But yeah, I would say definitely best in the DC EU so far. Probably say Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman close second. And I think it was a huge delivery for Jason Momoa and people who kind of wondered, because this isn't really he's done other films. There's only one I could think of, or one or two I can think of that he's led. But as far as like big budget box office, I can't really think of another one he's done big budget box office. But just answering that question of how he would deal with a film this big and leading that role by himself, and I think he did a great job. What I think they can do with the DC, what I think they can do to save the DC movie universe overall. Well, I definitely think that both Aquaman, Wonder Woman were two films that were a step in the right direction, but I also feel like even though I didn't hate Justice League, I do feel like the Justice League film and just the whole situation with Ben Affleck as Batman has kind of pushed things and left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. So I think that if they, own some of those missteps and find a way, whether through I don't want it to happen necessarily with Flashpoint, because I want, if they do a Flashpoint film, I want them to have a Batman set and ready for Flashpoint. But I feel like they should have some type of crisis event that would correct some things, or help them to recast the Batman. But I just don't want them to throw out the baby with the bathwater as far as the DCEU, because I feel like there's a lot of redeemable things there. And as far as the whole news shaking up with Henry Cavill as Superman, man, get that back right. Whatever needs to be done, uh, because I feel like he was perfect for Superman, and I feel like it's redeemable at this point. I feel like it's redeemable. And I did a video not long ago. Come to think of it, I'll leave a link, or I'll go back and put a link in the description about my ideas of, or my thoughts of, Jeff Johns stepping down, and hopefully him setting up something better for the films later on with the information that we know, because I feel like he took a step back to take a leap forward, and I hope it's true, or I hope I'm right. Let's see, Marvel put a Namor. How would they make it different? Okay, Rayvon Jones, that's a good one. And Marvel put out a Namor film. I guess, how would they make it different from Aquaman and catch young viewers' attention? I feel like with a Namor film, I don't think you would have to explore as much as the ocean with Namor, because it's not necessarily like a seven seas thing as much as it is just about the kingdom of Atlantis with Namor. So I feel like something like that, the best way to introduce Namor would be a Black Panther film, and show either the beginning of a conflict, since he has been mentioned in the MCU thus far, show Atlantean attack on Wakanda, or something of that nature. But I think Black Panther would be the best way to bring Namor into the MCU and also get the attention of young viewers at the same time. Yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, so yeah, that would be epic. Yeah, that would be epic. Yeah, because I mean, at the same time, it's like I don't think people really understand, like, like, even in comparison to Aquaman. And just as a reminder, this is a spoiler talk in this one, so just a quick reminder. But I don't think people really understand, like, how powerful these certain characters are, like your Aquaman, like your Namor, these uh humanoid figures, but they walk at the bottom of the ocean, like, literally. And the tremendous pounds of pressure that you have to handle at that depth, like, imagine them being on land and fighting someone. Like, that's ridiculous. So I think, to have that in a Black Panther film, that would be crazy. Having Namor attack Wakanda. Let's see. You should write comics and strips. I don't know, may get into some of that. We'll see. That trench scene was the best. Let's see, the trench scene. You mean the duel, or the Poseidon, or like the third act kind of? I'm thinking which trench you're talking about. How do you think DC's Shazam is going to connect to Aquaman? I think that because that's a good question. As far as like Shazam, how do I think Shazam's going to connect to Aquaman? I feel like I think they're gonna play it safe. As much as I don't want them to, I think that they're really gonna play it safe, just because of the whole state that the DCEU is in right now. I feel like they putting out these films so close to each other, they're gonna play it safe with Shazam, because at the time of putting it out, or making it even right next to each other, they didn't know if Aquaman was going to do good or do bad, and they didn't want it to not do good and that affect Shazam. So I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be too connected. There may be Easter eggs because, or mentions, because within the film, within Aquaman, you also had your mentions of uh, Justice League. You have your mentions of some of the stuff that happened in that universe prior to, but they were very minor, you know. But yeah, I feel like Shazam is definitely going to play it safe and not really try to get too connected to it. Mm. Oh, the trench, of course, yeah. You said flapjack. Flapjack. You saying when they for the zombie fish. Now that was crazy. That was just crazy when the with the whole flare and everything. I mean, but that once again, that's James Wan. He's a wonderful action director and also a great horror director. So he knew exactly how to handle that. I'd have been scared out of my mind on a little boat and them little things coming in. See, the star power having a Game of Thrones actor in your production. Matthew Cole. The star power having a Game of Thrones actor in your production is ridiculous right now. Yeah, they've been doing their thing, man. The Phoenix. I can't remember her name right now. But being in the Phoenix Dark Phoenix film, Jason Momoa, Aquaman, um, Taylor. I want to say Taylor Kitsch, not Taylor Kitsch. What's his name? Played Jon Snow. What's it? Taylor Kitsch? That's Gambit. Well, but what's his name? Played Jon Snow. He did a film also. It wasn't as big. It wasn't as big, but still, yeah. Each one of them is a lot of clout. Because I mean, mainly because Game of Thrones did so good. So Kit Harington, yeah, or Harrington. I believe it was Harrington, not Harrington. But yeah, Kit Harington. Because I did a video a while back. I wanted him to be DCEU's Red Hood. Yeah, but either way, like um, with him, yeah, he did. I cannot remember the name of the film that he did, but it wasn't that big in theaters. I don't know if it just went straight to DVD, but I remember seeing it on like the Amazon recommendations or whatever. But yeah, it's a good market for them right now, mainly because of Game of Thrones getting so big. Consider soft reboot. I don't think so, but now that you mention it, it could have been. It could have been. It could be considered as one in retrospect. But at the same time, they probably would do the same with Shazam because I really feel like they're releasing these films that are so very loosely connected. They're not like, clear as day. This was ran into that or whatever. But and even though Aquaman did have a couple clear mentions as far as being connected to Justice League, there still are a couple things here and there that aren't as quite as clear in their connection. And oh, this is what another thing I was thinking about watching Aquaman. Like, just thinking back on the movie, I understand that previously Aquaman had his mother's trident. And once again, spoilers. So Aquaman had his mother's trident. So could somebody please tell me or help me figure out, like, with the Aquaman film taking place after Justice League, how did he get that outfit in Justice League? You know what I'm saying? How did he get that outfit and then leave from that outfit and then just have the jeans on in the Aquaman movie if that took place after? Somebody tell me if we finish here before you see this or let me know either Vine style. Yeah, I'm saying like I didn't get that. That's like the one thing that kind of caught me like, okay, when Mira mentioned the whole thing with the Justice League, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, but where'd you get that outfit at? If you okay, um, Barry screwed up the timeline. Oh man, but yeah. If you happen to know that answer and you don't catch it in the comments, just hit me on Twitter. Just hit me on Twitter and let me know. Maybe he already had the outfit, just not the trident he was looking for in the movie. Because he had his mother's trident, so I guess that was what he had in the Justice League film. So, um, we'll see. We'll figure that out. If anybody here know James Wan, ask him and tell him to get back to me something. Yeah. So, let's see. Ivan, Merry Christmas. Yeah. Uh, yeah. But I think that's mainly it, guys. Before we get super long with this talk. Yeah, but that's pretty mainly it. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna be throughout the comments for a little while too. Um, let's see, but to make sure I get the answer to that question as far as Aquaman's outfit in Justice League, hit me on Twitter specifically with that. Hit me on Twitter with that, because I gotta know. I gotta know. But yeah, it's good squatting up with you guys. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. All right, later.